Hey everyone, welcome back to another day's rental car review. This week I'm in Chicago, Illinois, and picked up my rental car from National Car Rental. And this time I was able to snag a 2018 Ford Expedition Max, or the long version, and it's the limited trim level. So it's one below the top level. It's one below the platinum. It's the limited version. Um, I've actually had this rental car a couple of times. I've been able to snag some of these. It's one of the best vehicles, in my opinion, that National Car offers for those in for Emerald Executive status people. Um, Reason being, I'm not typically a large car person. I like sedans better. The only problem is that National Car oftentimes does not have nice sedans available for rent. Um, Typically, they're um, the stripped down base version of a sedan. Um, no options. I mean, I've recently had vehicles where you still have to put a key in ignition. I mean, are you serious? I didn't even know they made cars still today that you had to put a key in ignition. Um, and at the executive level, you should not be speccing out cars that have zero options. You should be getting at least some base packages with some modern safety features. But anyway, that's beside the point. On to my Ford Expedition. Um, like I said, I've had this car a couple of times, and I really like it. As we have a family of four, we don't really have a need for a vehicle this big. If I were to get one, I would get probably the shorter one. It would be plenty for us. But it's actually something I've considered. I've mentioned in a couple of my other videos that we have a Durango. I've considered trading that in for one of these new Expeditions. I really like them. I mean, it does have some faults, but as far as the ride quality, in my opinion, is fantastic. It rides significantly better. I had a Infiniti QX80 a couple of weeks ago, and it rides significantly better than the QX80. I mean, you can tell that this is an all-new design from Ford on how it rides. So it's pretty good overall. It's got the 3.5 EcoBoost motor in it, so you're looking at around, you know, almost 400 horsepower, almost 400 foot-pounds of torque. I don't think it's quite there. Maybe it's somewhere around in there. Nearest makes no difference, but it's 10-speed automatic. Um, and in my opinion, vehicles this big have no business being this quick. I mean, throttle response is good. This thing will get up and get to 60 miles an hour very quickly. So I'm pretty impressed with that. With the powertrain, I love this powertrain. It's one of my favorite powertrains I've driven, and I drive a lot of rental cars. So good job on that. As far as the interior goes, I mean, you have some, they're nice analog gauges here for the tach and the speedometer. They're okay. They're a little plain looking in my opinion, but you do have a large screen in the middle there, a digital screen in the middle there that has, it can be configurable. It can show all kinds of things. That's really nice. It's very clear. The font is very clear in there. Um, so, that's kind of nice. One thing I don't like in modern Fords, these buttons are still from years ago, and they're a little too big and cheap and plasticky, in my opinion. I don't really like them all that much. They're definitely not my favorite. So, um, hopefully, maybe in the coming years, Ford will redesign those because they're just not that great. Something else is the the navigation screen is pretty small by today's standards. I mean, it's probably like an 8-inch nav screen. I mean, it's clear and everything, but it's just really small. I mean, when you look at, like the new screens with Volvo and even like the new Dodge Ram has that big screen available, and I know the new Ford Explorer has a large tablet-sized screen available. I really wish that they would migrate that on over to here because this screen, just by today's standards, is really pretty small. As far as the other buttons and stuff, though, the switch gear, it all feels good. This vehicle has almost 18,000 miles on it, and there isn't any visible wear and tear on this thing at all. Um, and it's a rental car, so you might think that it's been used and abused, but I just don't really see that in this one. Maybe I got a good one, but actually, like I said, I've had this a couple of times, and they've all actually seemed to be holding up against the test of time, especially in rental cars. I mean, rental cars seem to age like in dog years, 7 years for every year they're out there. Um, but the interior is really nice in this thing. It's huge back there. You can fit a ton of people or a ton of luggage. I'm not used to driving something this big, so it definitely, when I look out the back window, it seems like it's a long ways back there. Um, but the vehicle does a really good job of feeling smaller than it is. I mean, there's some big wheels. I mean, I've driven Escalades before, and like I said, I drove that QX80, other things that would be in this class, and those things feel like they drive like a cruise ship. I mean, just huge turning radiuses and things like that. This one doesn't really feel like that. I mean, yes, it's a big vehicle, but it does a pretty good job of kind of shrinking around you, in my opinion. Um, so that's something that I really appreciate, especially driving in Chicago traffic, not feeling like I'm gonna take someone's mirror off or something like that. There's a ton of storage in here. The stereo system is pretty good. The limited trim comes with the Bang & Olufsen sound system. Sounds pretty good. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's pretty decent overall. Um, so other than that, thanks for watching. Take care. Hopefully, I'll be back next week with another review. Talk soon.